Hey everyone, Chris Carter here from the North Shore Drive podcast and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette with your quick reaction to the Steelers trading away George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys for a third-round pick and pick swaps. It's a big move by Omar Khan and the Steelers because clearly they had other plans for this wide receiver unit. They brought in DK Metcalf via trade. They send out George Pickens via trade, and they do it after the draft. To me, that leaves big questions for what the plan is for this offense moving forward, especially when they did not draft a wide receiver in any of the rounds. It didn't have to be a first-round pick. Didn't have to even be a third-round pick. But to not spend a fourth, a fifth, or a sixth at the wide receiver position when you had an idea that this was still likely does scratch my head when it comes to Omar Khan's plans for the Steelers offense moving forward, especially when you still don't know if Aaron Rodgers is signing. Lots of things are still up in the air. And if you're the Steelers, you now go back to saying, hey, you have one bona fide number one wide receivers and then a whole bunch of questions at wide receiver 2. Maybe they have plans to sign Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, one of those types of guys on a short-term contract. But it certainly is a big question for how the Steelers are moving forward with this upcoming season and why the Steelers wouldn't make this trade before the NFL draft to get this move in for the Steelers to have their way. Now, you can say maybe it was because the Cowboys weren't coming up from a fourth-round pick. They now come up from a fourth-round pick to a third-round pick. Maybe that's the compensation the Steelers were going for. But the Steelers, most likely, if they keep George Pickens for a year, they could have gotten a compensatory pick in the 2027 NFL draft in the third round for George Pickens. Now, granted, that's a year later, and maybe this goes more to the plan. The Steelers are planning to amass a whole lot of picks for the 2026 NFL draft to trade up and go get their quarterback, because now they'll have 12 overall picks with their first, their second, 2 thirds, and then 2 fourths, 2 fifths, 2 sixths, 2 sevenths because of other compensatory picks. We'll keep you up to date here on the North Shore Drive podcast. We've got a full episode with Ray Fittipaldo with our reaction to this and what it means for the Steelers' plans. Stay tuned with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Subscribe to the Post-Gazette at post-gazette.com for all our coverage, and check out the North Shore Drive podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube.